Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Beacon, our Alien ttrpg actual play here on Althaven. We are in the final acts of this campaign that we have been running for actually quite a while. I want to say it's been over 2 years. We've kind of touched and goed with Beacon, hasn't it been? It's been about a year and a half. Yeah,
Halloween
that sounds about
not
right.
last Halloween, but the year before.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So we're starting a little late today because we took a little extra time as we were all filtering in to go over some safety checks with each other because we're in the big end game here of this campaign. If you remember, when we first started Beacon, I checked in with the players at the very top just to make sure that everyone was going to be okay with this. Alien was a very big departure from what we normally play. And I really wanted to take the Stream Punks into the Dark Frontier and inject it with a little Hope Punk. And it's been a very challenging balancing act because you don't want to give up what makes Alien what it is. But at the same time, I don't want to give up what makes the Stream Punks what we are. So I don't want to cheapen either side. I don't want there to be a guaranteed happily ever after ending. And I do not want things to get bleak and dark and oppressive and nothing you did mattered at the end. Because my God, come on, Covenant, come on. Even James Cameron was like, I wouldn't have ended the movie like that. Anyway, so all of that being said, checking in with everybody tonight, I warned the players at the start of the campaign if they were going to be comfortable with the fact that this RPG is exciting and thrilling and horrifying because of the stress mechanics and also because it has a mortality rate. However, thanks to you, the Ox crew, and the use of Ox points has really turned it into a much more cinematic campaign where every character of the Ilios is a main character, and it's worked out great. So thank you, Ox Crew, for that. I invite you to check out the Alien RPG. It does have two different modes of playing. There is the cinematic play, which is the film version, where not everyone is expected to get out alive. And then there's the campaign version, which is what we've been playing. And it's been a blast. So thank you, Ox Crew. Safety checks are in place. We have all that above board. I'm going to start, before I start getting into announcements, I would really like Caitlin to show everybody what you just showed us, because it's fucking awesome.
I forgot I did it immediately after I did it, because we got in a call, but I
can kind of see it. Yeah, it's so good.
A beacon and
the Beacon logo and the Beacon patch.
Yeah.
That is so good.
I remembered I have access to a label maker that my mom got me for This is my favorite gift I've ever gotten in my entire life. And I've been thinking about doing this for like 3 months, but I forget when it's not in front of me. And whenever it's in front of me, we're on stream. And if I try to open that program, I think I'm worried it'll crash Video Ninja. So I never do it. And then I always forget. And then today I remembered. So I turned my little jacket.
Love it.
It's rad. Yep, it's good stuff. All right. Well, then with that, I'm going to kick things off to announcements. Does anybody have anything they would like folks to know? And I think I do have some quick stuff, but it's all housekeeping stuff. So if anybody wants to make an announcement, I can wait until... Yeah, what's up, Lisa?
I have 2 coming soon, and I've said them before, but I'll just repeat them again since they're both coming up very soon. I finished my first narration of an audiobook, of a full audiobook.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, I finished it, and y'all know how long it took me to finish it with all my executive dysfunction. My God. But I finished it, and very soon it will be up on Audible. So it's not up yet, but I looked into it, and you can wish list the book. It's called One for All. AHL is how you spell all. If you go to Amazon.com and wish list it, you will see, like, check back in a couple of weeks. Hopefully you'll see when the Audible version of it is posted. It'll be on that same page. So, and I will, if we're still streaming at that time, then I can also give you a heads up. I mean, we're not really going anywhere. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. And then the other thing is I have an independent project that I've been putting together, been working on for a few months. And it's a very personal journey that I've been going on for the past few months that is wild. And I'm excited to share it with you all. And I think you all understand somehow. I feel like you all will relate and understand. So yeah, that's going to be, I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks as well, that'll be wrapped up and I'll be able to share that on my itch.io, which is just elizapearl.itch.io. And that's it from me.
So you should follow her so that you know exactly when it goes up. So you should follow right now, obviously.
Yes. And some of you have. I have seen some people. So thank you for following me there.
Okay. Sweet. Awesome. I'll just say my housekeeping stuff real quick, just to let everybody know. We are currently compiling all of the rewards that we were able to chalk up during the fundraiser. So stay tuned. There's going to be some stuff coming out in the next coming weeks regarding thank yous to the Ox crew and such. So just wanted to give everyone a heads up and an update on that because we've been kind of rolling along and haven't given any updates yet. Also, thank you to everybody who is supporting some of the fiction that I'm dropping on our Coffee account. If you're interested in some of the lore buildup that we're putting into the last Excelsior, feel free to sign up on our Coffee page and our Patreon. And I'm dropping, it's a little, because of 2 impending deadlines, I haven't been able to update it in the past couple of weeks, but it's been a lot of fun building up, and it's functioning as a sort of like GM notes for me and helping establish the prequels to the game, I guess would be the best way of saying it. That was the only housekeeping announcement I had. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to kick off before we start into this last chapter? What's up, Noir?
There are 13 days left to vote for the Crit Awards. Unfortunately, the Crit Awards will not be taking place at Gen Con any longer for safety concerns, but it'd still be pretty cool if you voted for me. So please do that.
Yes, please do.
I also want to throw out Drac is also nominated for some stuff. So we should look at Drac and vote for Drac because
you should vote for Drac so that Noir and Drac both win, and then they have to battle like Highlanders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are y'all for the same category in any of them?
Oh no.
I didn't
Damn,
think
that
so.
would have been perfect though,
I know,
right?
I know, right?
Oh,
One
we would
shall
have advertised
stand.
that. That would have been content.
Mhm.
I gotta start producing shows, so that's when I can be in the
Yes, get in
same
there.
category.
There we go. We'll talk. Let's get you producing some stuff.
Understood.
Yeah.
Tell them about last Tuesday while you're at it, Noir.
Yes, we've got our last Tuesday game. Big B and Dash are coming back, and we may have some cool artwork to show you. We're doing our Marvel 312 universe with our our henchman and our speedster. I love these characters. You should love them too. Check it out, and if you want to check it out, please donate to our coffee. And you know, I might as well. I'm pitching a interview show for folks in the comic book universe to get a better idea of how to tell comic stories. And our first potential guest is going to be Chip Zdarsky. So please be on the lookout for that.
Really?
Yes, I'm so freaking excited.
I
have no
know
idea
a couple of comic book people.
Well, they need to tell.
Yeah. I just to add on to that, I forgot there was one announcement. I just wanted to remind everybody we are 1 week away from the season 2 premiere of Prodigy. Please go show your love for that. We have our cast member that we adore, Old Salt, that's been flying with us in space for all this time. Bonnie Gordon is going to be on that season 2. She, of course, has been very good girl and has not said anything about it, but has told me that it's going to be a freaking amazing season. So show that show some love and support because we want Prodigy to just keep on flying. So,
and it's going to be, is it on Netflix?
it's on Netflix.
Okay,
yep,
great.
you can catch it on Netflix. Yeah.
Wow.
As Bonnie said, there ain't no way but Janeway. So yeah, they're in the Voyager A and they're going to look for Chakotay.
So sexy.
So they brought back Kate Mulgrew and she is captaining Voyager A. I'm just very excited about this. So all right. Anybody else? Yes, Sam.
I have a few. I'll have to go through them very quickly. One is a project I should have been promoting significantly more, and I'm remiss in that, but that stops now. So let's go and talk about Prog Core. It's a multimedia system agnostic project that is created by friends of the Streampunks, Todd Stashwick and David Nett, otherwise known as, yes, actually just that captain on the Star Trek show, and an alumnus of Clear Skies, and the person solely responsible for putting me on RPGs in front of camera.
I would never have met Sam DeLev were it not for David Nett.
All David Nett's fault. So Progcore is an RPG. They call it an experience, but pretty much we're talking about something that's got all the fixings in a ttrpg. So we're talking source book, actual play, but also soundtrack, animation. The project is going on Kickstarter. And one of my favorite things about it is not just the nature of the vision, which is super cool. It's not just that like 12 teen people in LA ttrpgs, all of whom are significantly cooler than I am, are all involved, and it's very, very cool to be the least cool person in the room. Like, that is very, very, like, genuinely excellent and
Nice
exciting.
change of pace.
It's hush you. But it's also
You rolled into that one.
that if anyone could get a project of this ambition over the line, it's these two people. Like, they're so capable. This gets done, and the Kickstarter launches tomorrow. So if you want to be part of it, you will be funding a very ambitious and very cool and very doable for just like these absolute giga nerds project. I'm really excited about it. You should be too. Progcore Kickstarter tomorrow. But also just briefly to promo some stuff a little closer to home, the latest episode of May Contain Science went live on YouTube today. That is about a bunch of bioengineers who decided to store their MP3s in .dna format. That's right, you can use DNA for file storage, but is it a good idea? Can it compete with long-term archival storage? And did they do this for Jurassic Park memes when they stored it in synthetic amber? Find out more. That's live on YouTube now. And while I don't typically pre-promo the next story that I'm gonna tell, given that we're about to go really heavy into beacon stuff, you might need a palate cleanser tomorrow. So if you check out my stream Morning People tomorrow at 8 a.m. live, where I'm gonna get this onto my coffee for coffee supporters just like the moment I can after that stream. If you don't manage to catch it live, you will hear, I swear, the greatest sports story ever told, and it's about dogs. I swear this scientific paper is a Disney Channel original screenplay waiting to happen. So check that out. It'll be great after we get the absolute pants scared off of us right now. So I'm excited.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I think with that positive high note of excitement, let's dive into the dark and depressing, violent world of Alien and start tonight's episode of Beacon. All right. There's a lot to get through. We're in the final chapter here of the story of the crew, the Ilios, on Beacon Station. Except for this story starts off with you already on the Ilios and far away from a Beacon Station. We are pre-FTL jump. Right now, everyone is getting ready for the long sleep. Now, if I remember correctly, you guys are traveling. I actually found this really great audience. If you're ever interested, there's an RPG FTL calculator for Alien. All you got to do is type in the FTL rating of the ship, how many sectors or parsecs, as it were, that you were traveling. And in this case, that's technically, it's technically 2. And with the Ilios's FTL drive, it's going to take you 24 days of travel to reach Delphine.
Wait, a
however,
parsec is a sector?
I don't think it is. I think a parsec is an Eric error. I think is, and then parsec is how they are basically dividing up the square sectors on the map. They call them parsecs in the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But it also points out that you guys will be receiving 3 paychecks in that time period. So mark that in your character sheet so you know you can get that XP going. There will be 3 Comtech checks and 3 heavy machinery rolls. So, page 198. Bless you. This is such a valuable tool. Why did I only find you towards the end of the campaign? Why? That happened in Shield of Tomorrow too. We were wrapping up the campaign and all the great cheat sheets had come out by then and we were like, where were you? You were the chosen one. All right. So
I'd have settled for a copy of the errata.
there's also Demiplane, which has got some good stuff. All right. So we're going to make 3 Comtech checks, and that's actually going to be on Mother. She can do that for you. And then you can do the heavy machinery checks, Isaac. And
does my gear roll in any way?
Yeah, you would get a gear bonus to this for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then Mother's, oh, wait, hold on. Which, right. Because, okay. It's difficult to keep track of which mother system you guys are using, but yours is not as advanced as Beacon's.
Well,
It's
yeah,
less
now we
mendacious,
know.
too.
But she is on your team at least, so there's that, as far as you know. If this was a typical Alien game, I wouldn't be so.
Well, she used to not be, remember?
That's right. That's very true. She
That
is
was
the
from
moonlight.
the last time I found out that I was
Yeah.
Varella's Manchurian candidate.
Whoops.
Yes.
All right, so go ahead and make 3 heavy machinery rolls. I'm going to make 3 contact checks on behalf of Mother. Let's do it. Let's do it one at a time, so I can keep pace with if there's any minor component damage while you guys are in travel. And we'll get this roll out of the way, and then jump into scenes before you guys bed down for the sleep. So, this first check, Mother rolls a crushing 4 successes on the contact check.
Nice.
You think you're better than me, Mother? You're not better than me. I did pre-roll them, so for honor's sake, I can match over time.
Okay.
Or roll further as needed, but just
So no
I would
fails.
feel like cheating. Like if, for instance, I had failed to roll and been like, "Oh well," but Eric said we were going, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So for honor's sake, I have those lined up.
Okay, cool. So
But I
second
didn't
check.
just stunt spend or something.
Second check, Mother got 3 successes, and on the Mother got 2 successes on the final check. So on Mother's end of the contact check, the
4,
Ilios
1, 2.
does fine.
So
Okay,
fine
so
for
you're
Isaac.
So then no problems at all during FTL travel. In which case, let's go ahead and cut to before you guys bed down. Right now, the canopies of the hypersleep pods are all open. The room is lit up. The rest of the ship has already gone into standby lighting, which means it only lights up when Isaac enters that room, or in the case of the cat, entering the room. Otherwise, lights are off on the ship. Everyone's getting ready to bed down. And you guys can already hear Connor just kind of whistling to himself as he's stashing his cigarettes where he wants them in his locker. So he's easy to reach for as soon as he gets up.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, Doc was gonna like go to the med center and try and hold off as long as he could to do some studying.
Yeah.
Before going to the deep sleep. So that's
we can make that a part of this. Sure.
Yeah.
Then at some point, as everyone is bedding down, you would notice that Doc is not here yet.
How many days has it been since we left Beacon?
It's been about 16 hours since you departed.
Okay. 16 hours. Okay. Is there some type of like, I'll ask all the questions, fridge, microwave, heater, like food heating device, or what do we have in our kitchen? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's just to invoke this and bring it back from the classic Alien movie. There is a lot of analog style, like low tech devices found all over the ship. Reheating your food would definitely be among them. Very similar to like microwave. I feel like I actually saw coffee pot brewers and microwaves in the crew galley on.
Yeah, there's a hot plate.
Yeah. I remember that distinctly, that they have that kind of that feel to it, that sort of retro feel.
Okay, great. Mm-hmm. Martha is in the kitchen and she has 3 bowls that she's like preparing.
Okay.
I want to know where.
Okay.
Where's Tig?
You want to hear what everybody's up to? Yeah.
Okay.
Tig is in her last couple hours before we have to go to sleep so we don't get sick. Is probably just in the galley, writing, typing out on a pad.
Great. Where's Isaac?
Isaac likes hovering a little socially. So because all of you are about to be asleep, and respectfully, it is your most boring time of day. So all of this is my last opportunity for interaction with you for days. So in the most socially inclined, which is realistically, there are 3 locations right now. So it sounds like I'm also in the galley.
Cool. In that case, Martha is going to bring one of the bowls over to you, Tig, and place it in front of you. I figured one last ramen before we sleep for a while.
Sounds awesome, actually.
Great. I wasn't sure if you were hungry, and I'll put a spoon next to it.
I can always be hungry. She'll take the bowl from you and slide her stuff to the side. And is this from Beacon Station?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
I packed it away for our last pre-sleep meal.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Get a good big sip out of the broth first. Just cozy.
Isaac, I would offer you some, but
Tig, do you have any remaining stress on your character sheet?
Yes, 2.
I would say that taste of home probably takes a point of stress away.
Oh.
Noodles are the opposite of stress, it's true.
Yes, I love that.
I totally understand, but might Connor or Doc enjoy some? Should I?
Oh, yeah. Can you bring this to Connor? Actually, I was going to bring one to Doc.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I can learn some last-minute piloting maneuvers.
Nice.
Get them all in last minute.
That seems like a smart way to fly a ship.
Definitely.
Bounce it out.
And Martha's going to grab the last bowl and head over to the med lab or to look for Doc. I'm not sure if she knows where he is.
Mm-hmm. Well, the infirmary is actually not far from where you are. In fact, all of the main crew operating quarters are on the same deck near the flight deck. So it's a quick walk out of the galley up towards the flight deck and a turn, and you find yourself stepping into a rather large, spacious area that you know as the med lab. And you can see it's much like the rest of the ship right now. It's poorly lit. Only some of the corners are shining some lights. It's lit in the very typical alien isolation style fashion, where there's just enough light to see where you needed to go. And you do see the ominous figure of Dr. Albright hunched over his desk right now.
Knock, knock.
What is it?
I brought you something. Not sure if you're hungry, but since we're about to go to sleep, I thought one more ramen meal would be nice for everyone.
I appreciate the gesture, but I'm quite full. Thank you.
I'm already on my way to the wherever Doc is sitting with the bowl. Do I see what's on? What you're working on?
It's splayed out the box, the medicine. He's got a sample in a microscope. It is just scribbling notes frantically. It's like he's barely recognized that you're there.
Is that that looks like what Villalobos had?
I'd imagine that it would.
Is that the medication that Doc, did you take that medication? Martha drops the bowl. Doc, I have to call the station and tell. Why would you take that? Didn't you say that he could die without that?
Yes, it did.
So this wasn't a mistake.
No, Martha, it was not.
How could you?
It was never meant to exist in the first place. It was a mental exercise. It was something that I put together just to see if I could. And the fact that it exists, and it exists in the hands of someone like Varela is a mistake that I seek to remedy.
But he exists. He's a person who exists now. So we can't just undo that like he's a mistake to be erased. I have to call the station. Martha's gonna rush to the nearest wherever she can make that call.
That would actually be the flight deck.
Okay, she rushes out.
All right. Anybody has the option, but you would definitely hear the heavy footsteps of Martha charging down the deck plates, headed towards the flight deck.
I'm in there, I guess, having just handed off some noodles for Connor to slurp.
Connor's just finishing inputting the final coordinates and going through literally the checklist, the pilot's checklist, and going down. It takes about an hour to prep the ship for a long FTL jump. You both turn to see Martha come charging into the flight deck area, just on the other side of the dip. You can just see the top of her head as she's moving around the map table.
Is everything all right? Are we about to explode?
Doesn't answer. Just rushly getting everything she needs to make the call.
You rush over to one of the stations and start accessing the comms. It's easy to see what you're doing on Connor's control console. He watches that for a moment and gives a furrowed brow look at you, Isaac, and then just watches quietly and curiously as Martha gets on the comms. You put the headset on and immediately start looking for the frequency. You find it easy. It's pre-programmed into the computer.
Ilios to Beacon. Ilios to Beacon.
After a few moments, Connor glances over and says, Martha, this is going to be about a 45-second delay, but...
Oh, God. Okay, so she'll continue and say, Ilios to Beacon. What's the doctor's name?
Dr. Khan.
Dr. Khan, emergency. Please pick up. Please respond. This is an emergency. And
is everything all right? Connor gets up and he goes, do we need to stop? Do we need to turn around for something?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure yet. Just give me a minute. Ilios to Beacon. Ilios to Beacon.
All right, give it a sec, Martha, because you're going to flood the channels. You need to give him a moment to respond. You're going to start cross-talking. Hold on. I'll see if I can access simultaneous circuit unit here. See if you can talk in real time. Hold on. Roll a contact check. Right, oh, okay. A few moments later, and after pressing these big, thick buttons in front of him, he turns back and goes, all right, you should be cleared for that now.
Ilios to Beacon. Dr. Khan? Looking for Dr. Khan.
Okay, after a few moments, you hear some static on the other end of the line, and then the very familiar voice of one Preston Baker coming through and say, yeah, I read you, Ilios. Is everything all right? You only just left.
No, not everything. Everything is not all right. I need to speak to Dr. Khan immediately. Is he available?
Khan? I can message her. Is that stand by? Do you need to declare an emergency?
Yes.
All right, stand by. And about that point, Connor goes, what the fuck is going on? Is someone shot?
I take off the headphones and I say, what's going on is that Doc tried to kill someone.
Oh.
If you want more details, I guess you can ask him. And I put the headphones back on and wait.
You wait.
Look at Connor.
Connor looks at you completely confused and goes, our doc, Captain.
That was my understanding. But that makes no sense.
He tried to kill someone, like on purpose? He didn't just... Like, I don't understand.
I'll go check on him, I guess. And a little slowly, sort of almost floats out of the room, bewildered.
Connor moves over to you as you're waiting patiently, Martha, and leans up against the console and says, He's been cooking for a while. Does this have something to do with his boy?
Who are you talking about?
The doc. Does this have something to do with his
Oh.
son or something?
I don't know. To be honest, I really don't know.
Can you tell me who?
Alvin Villalobos. He needs that medicine that we found, and Doc took it on this ship and wasn't going to tell anyone, wasn't going to say anything.
Wait, I thought Alvin Villalobos was dead.
No.
No.
No. Did you not hear what happened? Oh. Okay.
What?
Alvin Varela is actually our Villalobos. Same person. Maybe definitely a clone, but
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got this mixed up then. So wait, no.
Do we know that?
Varela.
I don't think we know. I think only Doc knows that about the clone thing.
no,
because
I
of the
saw.
medication.
No. I asked. I'm pretty sure Martha heard what it does.
Okay.
I'm like fairly certain Martha heard the description because she was asking
don't-
questions about it. And
I don't think we know he is a clone. We know clones are involved because he said in front of us that the other one was a quote clone stasis death decoy emergency.
I don't remember that part, but
That was the tags that were in the information that were gleaned from both Isaac's memory, the cat
Oh.
data, and mother. Yes.
Mhm.
It's
Doc-
fragmented, but pretty conclusive.
From what I recall, Doc recognized the medication because he helped design it, and it's a stabilizing thing for
That we don't
clones.
know.
But then he kept that to himself so he could take it. And we know clones are involved through the dead, who we thought was Alvin, but I don't think we
Yeah.
knew.
I can clear this
And
up
we
for
know
you.
the
'Cause-
consequences if he doesn't take it, because that he said in front of all of us. I have
Yes,
to take
yeah.
it anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
We know
okay.
that. Yes,
Yeah.
we know that. We don't
That
know
we
he's a
know.
clone.
Yeah,
but we know
it's-
that if he doesn't take that, he will.
Correct. Yeah. The medicine he is taking is a derivative of the research that Doc had in place with regards to cloning, and it seems like Alvin had been somehow modified, probably in appearance, in order to conceal his true identity. And part of the side effects of that is he has to continuously take this medication for the rest of his life, or his internal organs can become unstable and start to fail. So, and that's a terrible way to go. So he has to have a continuous dosage of that. So,
Yeah, so you know that he needs that medication, but you
Mhm.
don't know why. Yeah.
but it has been hinted that yes, Varela apparently has had a hand in some nefarious reasons, was using the medical technology that Doc had been developing before departing to come join at Beacon Station. The big reveal was at the end is that you all were somehow linked to Varela specifically hiring you all at Beacon Station, except you, Martha.
Except for Martha.
Except
That
for
was the
Martha,
wild
who
card.
was
Yeah.
who was the big fly in the ointment. It's not entirely clear. The rest of it is Isaac is kind of cut and dry. That has been made pretty obvious what Isaac was being used for. It's still kind of a little fuzzy as to what her purpose was with you, Tig, but it clearly ties in. It clearly ties in somehow. So anyway, that's just to clear that up.
Okay. Well, then Martha will not say the clone part, but say
Everything else, yeah.
everything else. Yeah.
And Connor listens to you like you are catching him up on the last season of the most outrageous sci-fi show on television. He just listens to you and kind of nods and goes, "Oh, sure, yeah, no, that all completely makes no fucking sense.
I know.
And that's why I believe it, because that seems to follow this crew around."
Yeah.
So Varela's probably not in prison then. She's probably out there. And her son, I'm just going to, fuck, I wish I hadn't been told this before I went to sleep. I'm going to have the most fucked up dreams on the way out. All right. But thank you for telling me. Holy shit. Yeah, the doc has been cooking for a while. I haven't even known him that long and I could see it.
This
I mean-
isn't like him. I don't know.
What do you
what's going on
mean?
with him.
Martha,
This isn't like him. He cares about people.
He does care about people, but have you not been paying attention to how hard he has been trying to appear like he's okay?
Yeah.
All the laughter and smiles. He's not okay. He's not been okay.
I know that, but I didn't think murder was really something that he was capable of.
I mean, look, I'm not going to side with anyone here, and I'm upset just like you, but Martha, what would you do if you found out something you developed was contributing to the death of people that you cared about somehow, or was being weaponized? I mean, you might make the right decision, but what I'm saying is the doc, if this is what broke him, I guess we should have known that was probably going to happen. He's only human, right?
I'm not doing that. I'm not taking any responsibility for what he did. I'm not going to say we could have prevented it because we couldn't have known any of this would happen. And I don't really care about the why. I just need Alvin to not die. My friend Julio to not die because of this. Because Doc's sad that his science was killing people.
I didn't know you thought of him as a friend. I didn't know that. I thought the way you talked about him, it sounded like, well, I guess I should have known better. It sounded like you were angry, and I guess I just assumed. No, of course he's like
a little brother kind of friend, you know? Yes, he's annoying and I'm frustrated with him sometimes, but I care about him and he was doing better. He was getting his shit together. Except being a secret agent or whatever for Varela.
Except for being a doctor himself and manipulating everyone. I don't even want to dig into it. Look, I think you're right to be mad at Doc. I'm just saying, at least we know why he snapped. Not that it's right that he snapped, just we know why it happened.
I mean, he can tell that to his therapist. I don't really care anymore.
Can I say something? I'll be brief because I don't want to, I don't want to be the asshole who lectures to you or anything. I would never do that. But I say be mad at him now like you are. Be mad at him. But he's also still Doc. He did this, but he's still Doc. So when we come out the other side of this, he's going to need you more than ever. I just want to put that out there. He's the man that we all think he is. Once this hate rage that he's going through wears off, he's going to need some help forgiving himself.
Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, but it's kind of pointless now. I was going to get all sentimental about how we might all be going to die, and I really like you guys, but I'm just waiting until we're going to go to sleep before I get to that. About that time, you hear the crackling coming through the static and go, "This is Dr. Khan."
Dr. Khan, oh God, thank you. Thank you for answering. This is
Martha.
Lieutenant Martha Marrero. We're on the Helios, and I need you to check on Julio Villalobos, Alvin Varela, whatever name he's going by right now.
I heard. Preston has informed me about everything. What exactly is the problem?
He has some medication that he needs to take. I'm not sure why, but he made it seem like it was life or death. That medication is on our ship. So if we need to turn around and bring it back, I will make that happen. But can you just check on him, see if he has another supply somewhere hidden on the ship, on the station?
I'm going to need a few minutes.
Of course, yes.
Be near comms and give me 30 minutes, and I will contact the Helios as soon as I'm done.
Okay, I'll be standing by. Thank you, Doctor.
There's a crackle. You can hear like movement on the other end of the line, and then you hear Preston go, "Martha, you want to tell me what the hell this is about?"
Alvin's medication somehow ended up on our ship. So I just want to see if he has another box or if we need to come back and give it to him.
Somehow ended up on your ship.
Yeah, somehow.
All right. Let me, I'm going to go follow Dr. Khan then. But I'm on comms until we can find a new radio control officer. So
Right.
I'll keep you posted.
Thank you, Baker.
Beacon out.
Elios out.
Leaning back over his chair, Connor just says, we've got a little bit more time, but we really shouldn't stay awake too much longer. We should all start heading into hypersleep in the next hour or so.
Yep. Okay.
FTL plot's ready to go, so we're just burning time at this point.
If we have to go back, Connor,
I'll do whatever you think is best, but I trust you all to know what's best at this point. I'm just flying the ship at this point.
yeah, Martha just sits there kind of dissociating, just, waiting. Just gonna sit here and wait.
Okay. Down in the medical bay, the doors open as Isaac steps through.
Doc?
Hello.
I look around. Do I see any knives? Do I see any guns? Did Doc get another gun anywhere? Like, just looking around. I see med stuff, I presume.
Oh yeah. He's just everything looks normal except he's working on this medicine, or he's studying it. He's gonna take a deep breath and go, so did they send you to restrain me then?
I sent myself when Martha said you tried to kill someone, but you seem okay.
What Martha said is correct. I'd imagine you may have some questions, Isaac, so if you feel the need to ask them, go ahead.
Wait, who? Which of us did? On the ship?
No, Isaac, I would never hurt anyone on this ship.
I didn't think you'd hurt anyone at all. I'm sure if you threw a punch, you could maybe hurt them a little.
I appreciate that, Isaac, but no, I could not. I could not hurt anyone with my fist. I can hurt plenty of people with my mind, however it would appear. And I think that I've done just that, so.
So do I need to restrain you?
At some point, someone may ask you to do so. If that time should come, you should not hesitate. I expect I'll be spending the remainder of my life in some sort of prison, and I'm fine with that.
None of this makes any sense.
Isaac, I'm truly sorry that I have let you down. I did not think that I was capable of the hate that I feel. But I am. In clear mind and consciousness, I took actions that I knew would lead to the loss of life of someone. And I chose to take those actions willingly. And by God, I wish I could tell you that I'm sorry, but I am not. I wish that I could tell you that that this is temporary, that this hate will simmer and vanish. But Isaac, I don't think that that would be the case. There's no justification or reason for what I have done. Not a good one, at least. But there's the ones that I have. Varela sat with me, and we mourned the loss of our children together, and I vowed to do everything that I could to save her boy. And it was just a trick. And that has boiled up a hate in me that's something fierce, and I do not think that I can quell it. Are there any further questions, Isaac?
I stepped back. I guess not. They turn. Step.
More than anything in the world, Isaac, I'm sorry that you get to see the worst of humanity in me. I'm sorry I let you down.
You could just not.
Isaac, I hate her. I hate her with every fiber of my being, with every cell in my body. I hate her. I have lost my children. I have lost my practice. I have lost my best friend, and all because of some I looked at those creatures we studied and wondered, how could God make a creature that is so filled with hate? Now I know.
I don't think I've ever experienced someone doing anything like this. I guess. Except Varela. For some reason, you kind of remind me of Varela right now. It doesn't sound like you have to be restrained.
No.
It doesn't sound like it's a physical issue. I'll report back to Martha. You should probably stay in here.
Sound advice is always Isaac.
So Isaac, you head back up.
I close the door behind him. There's an intercom on the wall down the hall. We don't need me right away, so I close the door and I'll post up outside it for a while and process, I suppose.
On the bridge, back up on the flight deck, Martha, you catch wind from Dr. Khan that it's confirmed that no medicine is found on him or anywhere. He is still coming out of a stupor from being drugged, apparently. And Dr. Khan is going to put him in a hypersleep chamber until the Ilios returns. she informs you that's all she can do for him. That there is no place out here that is going to be able to. The medicine that he requires is simply not. That's simply not a medicine you can order. There's no substitute for it, and explains to you that she doesn't fully understand it. But she does tell you that she can keep him alive until the Ilios returns. She recommends you don't take longer than 6 months.
Okay. I want to pause for a second and just check with Noir. Are you okay with potential hands?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks
All
for checking in.
Of course. In that case, Martha says, thank you so much, Dr. Khan. I'll make sure that we're back before 6 months is up.
Okay, with that, Beacon Station ends transmission. And Connor looks at his watch and says, whatever happens next, I say we should probably all get into hypersleep in the next half hour or so.
Okay. Okay, Connor, thank you. Beeline out of there.
As you beeline out, he goes, I've seen that look before. What are you? And then the door closes behind you.
She's on a mission.
Martha, and then the door closes. There's where, okay. A few moments later, comms come on in the hypersleep chamber. So whoever's down there, and you hear Connor. I don't know if anyone's down there, but you might want to head off Martha. Is anyone down there? No? All right. Clicks off. All right, Martha.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm going straight back to the med lab.
Okay. You step into the med lab.
Isaac, are you still there?
I was about to ask, would Eliza prefer that Isaac might have wandered off?
I mean, I was going to say, because I was going to ask you about hands, but it would mean I would die. So
Sam is fine. It would be a little tough to motivate them away at the moment. But they're, I mean,
no. Let's see how it plays out.
Okay, all right, yeah. So Isaac is posted outside the corner. You know the thing where like you just kind of slide down the wall until you have like knees to chest kind of sit like 2 steps outside the door. That's where Isaac is at the moment.
Oh, okay. That hurts my heart a little. Yeah. So you probably will see Martha storming towards the door, and when Martha looks up and notices you, she kind of does a double take and says, "Are you okay, Isaac?"
Always. That's the strange part.
I've just never seen you with this body language, I guess.
My crew's never disappointed me before. And this one's... What's going on? Is everything... I suppose everything's not going to be okay. What flavor of not okay you were stomping?
I'm going in there to take that box of medicine from Doc, whether or not he wants to give it freely. That medicine he took from Alvin/Villalobos, who will die without it. Thankfully, is now going to be in hypersleep until we're back. But I'm going to basically take that medicine and lock it in my locker. If you need to stop me, I understand, but you're the only one who can stop me at this point. So just wanted to let you know.
I pressed the door button.
I keep storming in. Continue.
I will step inside super...
Okay.
Arthur, Isaac, a pleasure as always.
Do you want to step away from the table and the box?
Oh, you're here to retrieve the box. He pushes it forward.
Are all the little vials in it?
All except one. It's already been spent on being put under the microscope.
Actually, Doc, go ahead and do me a quick favor because you were analyzing it. I
Yep.
need you to go ahead and make a medical aid check.
You get the
Okay.
science out of the bad thing.
Might as well get
Mhm.
science out of it.
Medical aid, empathy. No stress. Okie dokie. Roll. That's 2 successes.
2 successes. You can see the base code in which they used your research. It does indeed look like it is a type of. It does indeed look like the medicine itself is probably designed to help stabilize organs that might be underdeveloped or could have anomalies because of maybe a rapid cloning process, or maybe it is a some kind of alterations being done to internal organs. You've seen this before in this day and age. It's actually quite easy to clone internal organs for replacements in surgery. And this one seems to be designed specifically to keep organs that perhaps were maybe did not develop correctly during a cloning process to stop from essentially breaking down and stop functioning. But you can see the traces of your work all over this. Also, the application of this too. If they've learned how to do quick genetic alterations on people to mask what they might look like on a genetic level to fool medical tests and anything else they need, it just staggers the mind to think what Wayland Yutani or their associates could do.
Yeah, it opens up the door for a lot of horrible stuff.
I mean, bioengineering has been, that is the mad gold rush right now that the corporations are really into. Is they are absolutely trying to. Androids was the first step. This is the next step, and it's trying to take that synthetic engineering capability and try to reconstitute and make the ultimate human or controllable soldier or any other number of things. It has all of the markers of your old research on it. You can see a lot of the work done on this. And of course, the last thing I'll give you is that, I mean, it really plays into why Varela probably had you come out here. One thing I will tell you is that it seems pretty clear to you now, Doc, that one of the reasons why you became an ideal candidate to pull out to Beacon Station was, with you out of the way, your daughter would sign on to any Wayland Yutani contract. And now that you know that Varela is probably still connected, getting you out of the way opened the door to what she needed. And this is probably an early phase of that she used it on her son in the state that it's in right now. You don't know if that speaks to his tenacity or hers.
Yeah,
but it's every bit of the insulting abomination as you were expecting to find.
Yeah, honestly, he's just eyes in the microscope, writing down notes, like aware that Martha and Isaac are there, but it's just locked in right now.
Do you still push away?
Yeah, you just here. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I will close it, and take it under my arm. And I think Martha does pause and look at Doc for a minute, and then just kind of shakes her head and leaves to go lock this up.
Martha, do you have any idea what you have in your hand right now?
I honestly don't know. I just know that it's going to save someone's life when we get back from our trip.
Can I ask you a question? I understand that you might upset with me, but I do have to ask.
I'm listening.
As a Marine, I'd imagine that you've had to do very difficult things. Did you feel bad about it when you did it?
Yes, I understand moral ambiguity, and I understand making hard decisions and deciding between life and death in a moment. I understand all of that. So is there anything else you have to say?
No, I think you jumped into a conclusion that I'm not aiming for. I'm asking, how? How did you make yourself feel bad about it?
Well, my brain just does that on its own. I don't really have to work hard for that.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that. All right.
Martha turns and goes to lock this up.
On the intercom, all of you hear Connor's voice. Hey kids, just letting you know, we should probably get to Betty Bye in about 25 minutes or so.
Martha, from the hallway, you hear Martha say, "Oh my God, Connor!" And yeah, I'm just going to shove that thing into my locker and close it, lock it, encrypt it, all that business.
Okay. Easy peasy.
I'm gonna go to the cryo base.
Yes, same.
Okay. It is a chilly atmosphere in the hypersleep chamber as folks are loading into their sleeping bays. Isaac, you just monitoring all of the life support systems and making sure they're all functioning. They are. Mother is in the process of starting to boot up the entire system. Everything's coming online. Everyone is taking you are drinking your hydrate, which you are supposed to drink before you go into hypersleep. Everyone getting a injection of nutrients.
Tig is late.
Okay.
Maybe 15 minutes after everybody else is there, she comes in.
All right.
And I don't need a scene about it or anything, but to declare, Tig has written 2 letters to be sent in case of her death. One for Buffy and one for her uncle.
Okay.
She has Mother storing it or something, whatever that sort of
Situation arises.
situation would look like. Yes, she has those.
If Mother
written.
receives confirmation of your death, she will send those letters.
Yeah, that's what she's been up to.
Okay.
But she eventually does find her way in.
Doc leaves Isaac a copy of Othello.
Okay.
Thank you.
As Martha preps for hypersleep, you all see that she's just so pissed that she can't even engage.
Connor approaches you, Isaac, and you see he's holding a book too. He pauses as he approaches and goes, "Oh, I see Doc already gave you one, but you're probably going to have enough time to read two, knowing you. So, which one did he get you, out of curiosity? Want to make sure I don't get you the same thing." "Oh, some light reading then. Right. Okay. Well, I got you. I got you this one. It's an old favorite." And he holds up a copy of Don Quixote. He says, "Figured you might like that one. Seems appropriate somehow."
Yes. Someone I love put that on my reading list once.
"Oh, no kidding." "Well, whoever they were, they had excellent taste."
They don't look. They cut their eyes to Albright.
Albright is getting situated and closing his eyes. You haven't seen Doc so ready to go into hypersleep before, but he does indeed get situated, and you see the canopy just going, starting to slowly lower. And Connor gives you a friendly slap on the shoulder and says, "All right, well, take a good care of her while we're all napping, and I guess I'll see you in a month."
How about I wake you up under better circumstances than the last time we arrived at our destination?
"Okay, don't make any promises, but I'm looking forward to that."
Sounds good. Sleep well. Sweet dreams.
And with that, he takes off his boots and his socks and hops into his hypersleep chamber. One by one, you all bed down.
Tig is in her hypersleep chamber, but before it closes, she kind of holds her hand out to Isaac, like hand holdy, like grabby hand. I'm not a good reader. I don't have any books, but stay entertained. I'm glad you have a buddy this time.
Yeah.
Squeeze your hand.
Mwah.
Double squeeze.
Pat pat pod.
In true cat fashion, Dr. Impressive is currently in the doorway with one leg straight up in the air as he continues to clean himself. With his head tucked tightly between his legs. You just lean back in the pod, just and after a few moments, the pressurization in the oxygen-rich atmosphere causes all of you to slowly drift into sleep. You see, after about 30 minutes, Isaac, everything confirms that they are in stable hypersleep. And Mother informs you that the FTL jump is initiated and will activate in the next 10 minutes.
Excellent. Eric,
Mhm.
I have a question.
Sure.
World question.
World question.
Because my understanding is that under very specific extenuating circumstances,
Mhm.
synthetics are capable of lacrimation. I'm not really aware of the particular circumstances when we can cry.
Synthetics can fully cry. In fact, there is a eerie as fuck promotion that they did for Prometheus, in which they had the synthetic David on full display as if it was a model you could purchase from Wayland Yutani that was just coming out, and he was demonstrating how absolutely human he was and cried on command as he was talking about how beautiful he found things and how much he wished he could help people more. Synthetics are 100% capable of crying real tears.
Does it help?
I think that would be a question for Isaac.
Isaac will investigate this empirically. I'm afraid that perhaps Connor's copy of Don Quixote might have a couple of pages with minor water damage.
Isaac, from your observations and the things you've read about humanity, is humans have moments of pain and great joy that range in spectrum from sex to combat to like seeing the theater. These moments where things line up into which they are allowed to break and find themselves in a truly vulnerable space, a vulnerable moment. And your mind immediately starts going into sort of a circular kind of thinking of how does one experience that? If one is trying to experience that, is it possible if you're trying? And the curious thing about this, Isaac, is it begins to lead into a cascade effect of thinking about trying and thinking about how you've been trying from the beginning and how old you really are and how long you've been with the crew of the Ilios and how trying has been largely based off of what you've observed. And what you've observed are these groups of good people. And now that's cracked. There's this split that runs right down the center of the heart of the crew right now that you never saw coming. When you realize that flow has happened as your thoughts run away, you realize in that moment that any kind of internal chronometer tracking the passage of time, that it's been almost 10 minutes and that you do in fact have tears running down your face. You're currently standing on the flight deck with Dr. Impressive purring and rubbing up against your ankle. And outside the window, the white twinkling lights of the stars that constantly light the dark blanket of the sky around the Ilios is starting to slowly wink out one by one and bend, as though someone would take a lens in front of the Ilios and was moving it around and around, indicating the aftermath effect of the Ilios's engines powering up as the Ilios enters into FTL jump. And you see space and time starting to warp and twist and bend around the exterior hull.
I don't think I feel any better at all.
And as you say that, if you could imagine for a moment, just the quiet outside the ship of the Ilios, an exterior as it slips into the darkness away from any nearby starlight as it jumps to FTL. And that is where we're going to take our 10-minute break. And when we come back, you will be arriving at Delphine. And we'll see you all in 10 minutes. Welcome back to Beacon. We apologize for running a little late. We had to let Caitlin know how amazing her hair looks tonight, and that led to a whole thing about finding out how amazing Caitlin's hair is. So we spent some time there, and now we're back. So we are going to make some checks here real quick. I've already got the tables opened up, so give me 1 second. Now the good news is you do not have to worry about NDD unless you are rattled awake during FTL travel. So let's see. I'm just going to clarify with the rules here for a second. Number of days. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, you do not have to make a roll. It's been a hot minute, so I just wanted to revisit the rule. That's how we started the game. You do not have to make a roll for an NDD unless you were abruptly awoken from hypersleep. And as a quick revisitation, that's the neurological distortion disorder that the human mind unfortunately goes through because FTL travels pretty harsh on the human body. And being suddenly woken up from it when you were in a long hypersleep can have some bad effects, as we saw the very first episode of Beacon, but you guys are going to be fine. 24 days in FTL travel. The standard issue procedures initiate, and lights begin to flicker to life all over the ship. Mother informs you that the crew is being roused from their sleep and should be awake within the next hour. You also get telemetry on exactly what system you are approaching. It is the Delphine system. And it is the system that Delphine is in, and it is already coming up on the external sensors. And just to speed things along, unless you have anything you wanted to do, Isaac, we can take to the scene of the humming of the canopy of your hypersleep pods raising is what is this slow noise that gently wakes all of you up. You hear the... It's a little disorienting because it feels like you went to sleep hearing that noise. And for a moment, your brain needs to acclimate to the fact that it is waking up to the same noise. The disorientation comes with mild muscle stiffness and sensitivity to the light. And then, of course, as you begin to slowly sit up, each of you experiences that lovely side effect of mild nausea. Another day traveling in space. But each one of you, one by one, starts to slowly raise up out of the hypersleep pods. And Isaac, you were there to see them. I'm going to roll a die. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is going to be... it is going to be Doc. Doc, you feel the balanced pressure points of 4 paws suddenly weighing down on your chest. As the canopy to the pod reaches its zenith, and as it does, you hear the noise that sometimes they make when they jump, which is a meow that is also being kind of hindered by the sudden movement of their body as this cat lands on top of you.
I think being woken up to something so sweet is like the first thing that kind of shakes him, and just a couple of tears come down, and then he goes, Doctor? Oh, my damn knees. Just gonna immediately get up, see that he's the first one up, and as best he can, make a beeline to the med lab just to be away from everybody before they wake up.
Your feet immediately hurt as you start moving
God.
down the corridor. The soft padding of your feet just on the grating of the deck. It takes a second before they acclimate as you reach into the main corridor, but you do walk right past Isaac, who is standing there watching you all awaken.
I don't think he says anything to Isaac. I think it's just kind of running away from the crew.
Okay. In which case, Isaac, go ahead and do what you're going to do. I need a second anyway to pull this rule up.
Oh, I wish I had more content for you there, but Doc's never done that. So how would I even react? I mean, Doc of all people has never failed to be courteous, saying good morning or, thank yous and stuff. But I guess didn't want the coffee or the slippers. The floor didn't have to be cold, but it's fine. I guess things are different now.
A few moments later, you hear Connor say, "Are you there, Isaac?
Oh, yes, of course.
How are we doing? Are we on fire? Is everything fine?"
Nothing is on fire.
Yay. I like hearing that part. That's my favorite part of waking up.
Huh. I had never thought of that to be my favorite part. I would have to sleep first.
I'm gonna get some coffee then. Oh wait, I put cigarettes nearby, didn't I? He gets up, mumbling
Yes,
to
in your
himself.
locker.
Thank you. And then he reaches
Is
for
that
them
for
and
your
he goes, yeah, I think I want coffee first. And he pushes the locker back closed and then realizes he's only wearing his undies and stops and goes, oh, right.
Robe.
Starts putting on his flight suit and says, oh, robe, right, yeah. Takes the robe. And holding...
The pot of coffee's in the galley.
Thank you, as he heads out. The rest of you getting up one by one. Unless you have any scenes you want, we can all gather on the flight deck to take a look at what Mother is displaying on the sensors.
Yes, when does Doc slink to the flight deck?
It does dock link to the flight deck.
No.
All right. Well, there on the sensors, the data readout and indeed the brilliant white dot in the distance that shines to a nearly painful degree were it not for the shutters that you were able to place over the canopy of the flight deck. You see the Delphine system. White dwarf stars in the center of the system. This system is in the middle of it, is in the process, a very slow multi-million year process of dying. Mother is tracking that a lot of the planetoids in this system, whatever their conditions have been over the past million years or so, that it's in a state of change. There's lots of debris in the system. There's an asteroid field that, according to a lot of the scientific readouts, which Mother has access to from previous scientific long-range observations, Delphine is currently experiencing the aftermath of a red giant phase. So the system may have actually been bigger at one point. Most of those worlds were probably obliterated or destroyed or consumed, but there are still a sizable amount of planets in the system. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 worlds that are still orbiting this white dwarf star. The one that Delphine is supposedly the one you are looking for is near the gas giant, second closest to the sun. It's popping up on sensors, but it's a long-range reading and you cannot get any visuals of it. Just that the readout is popping in. There is a sizable amount of moons in this system as well. The irritating part, though, is it looks like the asteroid belt is more accurately described as an asteroid sphere that encompasses the entirety of that section of the system. And looks like it's not just a single plane of rock that seems to scatter about the system in orbit. It actually looks like the rock seems to scatter in a strange spherical orbit on the exteriors of the sun itself. It's not dense at all, but it just means there's debris all over the system. Not the most ideal place to set up any kind of research laboratory or colony or anything. Perhaps why it was chosen? But what you will note, though, is the asteroids that are all over the interior part of the system. They lie between you and the moon you were looking for, which is orbiting Delphine. Connor takes a good look at that and says, it's not as bad as it looks. The only real problem is we're not going to be able to detect much until we get closer into the system, which will be about an hour or so from now. That's the only bad part. So if there's anybody out here who's just lying in wait, they're going to see us before we see them, because we're just a cargo ship.
Well, after we didn't quite send that ship into the sun, I can't imagine we would have had the element of surprise.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Well, Cap's not on the bridge. I'm going to assume we're going in.
Martha, are you captain now?
No, I don't think so.
Is that a thing that was discussed?
No, I think I told you all that there should be some Marines that are going to meet us here. I'm commanding them, but I'm not in command of this ship, and I should probably go talk to the captain. And
Is there an intercom button up here?
Oh, yeah. You guys can communicate all over the ship.
He leans over the console, just presses it like over Connor's shoulder. Captain, we are making executive decisions about the state of the mission. Will you please report your hypersleep, hangover, ass to the bridge, please? You're not the only one who's cranky. Drink some water and get up here. And let's go. Take it. Knock it out of hypersleep.
Okay.
all right, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Connor's sitting there with one leg in a flight suit that he has pulled up to his waist and a cup of coffee in the other hand and a robe that's been thrown over him. And he just sips the coffee and waits patiently. What are you doing?
Doc will come. The white, but he does not have the white coat on. Just
As you step onto the flight deck, Connor looks up as you round the corner and head towards the big collection of thick flight chairs that is towards the front where you see the crew is gathered. And Connor goes, there you are, Cap. I'll just basically relay what I told everyone else. Lots of rocks in the system makes it kind of hard to scan the interior. But Delphine 2 is on the other side of this sort of sphere, belt, whatever you want to call it. I was never much of a scientist. But lots of rock floating out there. So, shall I take us in, or do we want to rethink this?
the whole time he's hearing Connor, his eyes don't leave Martha. Like,
Okay.
it's kind of like a "Are you sure?" kind of look, but
Martha has been like standing with her hands folded, very businesslike, kind of listening and doing the debriefing thing with Connor. And she looks around at all of you, including Doc, and says, I think we need to clear the air here. Doc, you and I are in a disagreement about how you made some actions, but I feel like I've done everything I can to correct that. And although I'm still not okay with what happened, I am still a part of this team, and you are our captain. You can trust that I will protect your life.
well, in the sake of transparency, I care a great deal about everybody on this ship. And in that regards, I am not compromised as your captain. I am not concerned with protecting the life of anyone involved with Utani or Varela. And if Wayland Utani or Varela, and if that is agreeable, then I say we go in. Should we encounter Varela, my aim is to see her dead.
Well,
Isaac puts a heavy hand on Doc's shoulder. No.
I understand that y'all might not agree with it, and I will not lie to you. I wish I could say something different. But if we are to go in, then we go in.
Martha looks around at everyone else. Martha has a very confused look on her face. Seems like everyone kind of does.
Oh. Isaac has a concerned look, looking to Tig, looking to Martha, looking to Tig, looking to Martha to look to Tig.
Doc,
yes.
just
Martha?
a quick question. Based on what you just said, are you sure you're not compromised? Because it kind of sounds like you are.
I'm determined. And if that doesn't sit right with everybody on this crew, I understand. I can return to my med bay to continue my studying, but I don't intend to lie to any of you.
Look at Connor.
I had a question. Is that all right?
Of course, kinda.
I'm just, you're all always doing a lot, so I know I'm usually the last person to know what the fuck is going on. So, but I don't want to be presumptuous either. So please don't be offended by the question. But what is it about Morella that has pissed you off so much that you're willing to do that? I'm just curious. It's all right to ask. If it's personal.
No, it's fine.
He feels betrayed. And he's letting that compromise his morals. So, if I'm reading this correctly, that's what that looks like.
Tig is not wrong.
Look, remind me to tell you this story about my ex. I mean, it's not pretty, and it absolutely has to do with betrayal, but no one died.
I was concerned about the contextual relevance there, yeah.
No. That's something I don't do, and I'm just... It seems
Okay.
like a... What? I'm just... Sorry, Doc. I'm not trying to stretch this out or be insensitive.
No,
what brought us to the point where you were willing to kill someone? I'm missing something. Clearly, I'm missing something. Betrayed how? Because she was your employer? Like, did she screw you on a payment or something?
We bonded over the loss of We bonded over a mutual loss, and it turns out that that loss was only suffered by one of us. And the reason that loss may have been suffered only by one of us is because my work was stolen, or taken, or bought.
Uh-oh.
It's my fault, but to be honest with y'all, I ain't got much to lose at this point, so.
Tig stands up. All right, we're going to medbay. Come on. Y'all, take us in. We're going to start. Y'all start looking around, see what we can learn as we get closer. Come on. Reginald, stand up. Let's go. Come on.
All right. It's going to follow.
I'll start taking us into the system then. Hey, whatever you two are about to do, just be ready. I don't know what we're going to find just going into this place, so just if I turn on, if you hear the comms turn on and I'm screaming and Isaac's trying to tell me to calm down, just head up to the flight deck.
Got it.
And Connor turns to you and looks at you, Isaac, and says, don't worry, I don't actually, I get really quiet when I'm terrified.
I've noticed.
Yeah.
Well, except the one time. You were very loud.
Which time was that?
Oh, you know, the time when Martha had the thing
Oh,
on her helmet.
fuck. Yeah.
And then you found out about it.
No.
And then it was all just very, very bad.
No. We don't have to bring that up. No.
Yeah, I think that's the only time, because you weren't around for the time when...
No. I overheard you talking about the ladder incident, and I don't want to know any more. Thank you. No.
Are they about to fight? Not like, obviously they're about to yell. Are they... Should I stop?
You mean taking Doc?
Yes.
No, that's not a fight. That's a stern talking to.
Yeah, I think a stern, slightly medical, but mostly stern talking.
Doc to Doc, I tell you, I've known a few Marines and ex-Marines in my time. If they want to fight, they just throw the punch. They don't set you up. They kind of just take the swing. Yeah. The smart thing to do is when you want to hit someone, you do it before you let them know you want to hit them. Otherwise, they know you're going to hit them, you know. But you know, between friends, you definitely want to say something first.
I hope Tig can get through to him.
I think that's going to be up to Albright. I mean, it doesn't sound like he's responding to reason right now. He's running pretty hot. I just had a question, though. I don't know that much about the man, honestly. Just that he was a doctor and a good guy and was always standing up. I mean, he mentioned he had a son. I know that he lost a son, but what's the story between that and Varela?
So you know how I told you, not yesterday. I mean, it feels like yesterday, but before hypersleep, I told you about Alvin and Villalobos being the same person.
Yeah.
But we thought Alvin was dead and didn't think that Villalobos was not who he was telling us he was.
Right, yeah.
So when we started working at Beacon, Varela told us that her son was in danger. And then we thought her son died. And she let us believe that.
Oh, sorry. So there was, okay, I get this now. There was a conversation Varela and Doc had at some point where they kind of bonded over the fact that they both lost their son. Only Varela never lost her son.
Right.
She was using her son as an instrument to weaponize what Doc was doing into a, all right, yeah, no, I see it now. I mean, I still don't think that's a good reason to blow someone's head off, but I would be pretty pissed off.
I mean, it's terrible. What Varela has done is terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
She programmed me to murder the entire station worth of people if anyone ever found out about our schemes. And I haven't attempted to murder anyone as a result.
You see the corner of his mouth twitch a little bit as that phobia clicks back in for a split second. And he goes, you know what this is? This is an opportunity because you haven't murdered anyone. And
of course not.
No.
Because that's not what good people do, which is why it's so disturbing that Doc has.
Right.
Get that, right?
Oh, I get it. Look, there's nothing rational about phobias. We all know where they come from. They're all... Anyway, yeah, we're good. I'm growing as a person, Isaac. It's happening in front of you. We should treasure this moment. I'm not being a dumbass. I'm being a mild ass. Like a type of, weak chili sauce or something. Like it's a mild burn. It's not like a full...
I think there's important physiological context and social context that I'm lacking in this moment, but given that we're navigating an asteroid field, I should probably let you focus.
We're not in the asteroid field for another 2 hours, but if you want to come up here and keep talking to me about chili sauce and such. You know, there's actually not any chilies on the frontier. They can't grow in a lot of the soils that they make out here. Well, that's not entirely true. You have to be a rich son of a bitch to live on one of the Weyland-Yutani colonies or Seegson colonies.
Do you have a chili hookup?
Oh, I'm into spicy food. Did I not tell you this?
No.
I don't know chili hookups, but there's a lot of great alternatives out there. A lot of great synthetic foods are actually really good at you know, sort of make-believe spice. It's quite good. They've done some good stuff with it out there. Lots of genetic engineering of there's a type of tomato that grows. I'll have to tell you about it sometime. But they've managed to splice chili genes and tomatoes, and it sounds bizarre, but trust me,
Sounds good.
it's quite interesting. It took a little bit getting used to, but they
Can
they
probably
turn it-
make a really good Bloody Mary with that.
They turn it into soup. So you could do it, but I didn't know. We didn't have any alcohol, so we didn't make Bloody Marys. They didn't allow them when I was working out there in the field. But yeah, no hard alcohol anyway. It was all that shitty Weyland-Yutani, like watered down American beer.
Yeah.
Isaac is so out of here. Isaac's like, this is some human stuff on a level I am not prepared for. I'm going to go eavesdrop from a hallway.
They're talking about food and drink, Isaac, and as far as you're concerned, that's all stuff you do ritualistically to make people feel nicer. And you
I don't even think I have yet.
I don't think you really have.
I don't really do that.
You've sat at
That's
the
what-
table where food was
Yeah.
happening, but you never
Yeah.
actually.
No,
Yeah.
because it's inefficient and it's a waste of limited. You can either be part of an organization that gives food aid, or you can eat food that you don't biochemically need to make people feel comfortable. But I think it's probably messed up to do both.
That's fair.
Anyway, so
Oh.
I'm gonna eavesdrop on the fight.
So I like to think that as we see Isaac in the corridor, because keep in mind, the infirmary is again probably about a 70-foot walk from the flight deck to the infirmary. It's on the same deck. So as Isaac is approaching the door, after about 2 minutes behind you guys, what do we hear as the scene opens up?
So Tig very just didn't say anything, walked them all the way down, just kind of marched basically, marched us down to med bay. And when we get there, she kind of does like a paces in a circle, kind of hands on her hips, collects her thoughts for a minute and says, clearly I missed some things. I don't care right now what those were. But I'm gathering there was an argument, there was a disagreement, and I can tell that you've been struggling. So I have some things to say to you. I don't need a response if you don't want to give one. We don't need to have a conversation because you haven't been hearing me, and I don't think you're going to now. I just need you to hold on to this just for a rainy day, okay? Wanting to kill Varela. Dramatic. I haven't even taught you how to fire a gun yet. Fine, that's fine. Confirmed suspicion when it became less about Varela and more about you. And you not having anything left to lose. So, just listen to me. One thing that I had to learn very early on, out in the frontier, some cruel joke of life, I guess. The universe only lets you die when you want to live. Okay? So people like us, we don't get to die. My advice is to do something with it. Something fucking useful. We don't get to die. So we have to live like hell. And I know you don't want to hear me right now, but I just need you to save that for later. Okay?
Understood.
Can you do that for me?
Understood.
She punches him in the shoulder
Ow.
and leaves.
Qualifying exactly what Connor promised you a Marine would do. Without warning, Tig slugs him in the shoulder.
At like 40% power, but
Yeah.
she does.
Enough.
She snapped him a little bit. Yeah.
When you step out, you see standing in the hallway, caught red-handed.
Hey.
Hi. Someone should have told you. You were going to sleep. Sorry.
This is fine. It's okay. It's the outcome is whatever he did. We have other things to focus on. I'll ream him again later if I have to. You good?
What?
I'll punch him harder.
Please don't.
Yes. Always.
I know. I still like to ask.
Up on
No
the flight.
emergencies happened?
Oh.
Yeah, I was saying no emergencies happened, and we
Yeah.
can cut to, back to the flight.
Up on the flight deck. Right now, Martha's in the process of enduring kind of a blab session that he is having about white dwarf stars.
You know, it's actually entirely possible to have planets in the Goldilocks zone with white dwarf stars. They just have to be closer. And it's even rarer, obviously, because systems have to survive the destruction that is wreaked when the gravitational force of the solar system changes after the red dwarf life cycle, which usually causes mass chaos. But it can fundamentally alter, like how an entire solar system, like a lifeless planet might become a planet. Oh, look, there's water. And then 50 billion years later or whatever, there's, microbial life or probably not that long. It's probably more like 4 billion years like it was on Earth, but something like that. Anyway, point is, we might be surprised by what we found in a white dwarf system. This place doesn't look habitable, but, maybe we'll find a casino or something.
You really think so?
I mean, it happened in a Star Trek episode. Did you ever watch that show? There was this episode where they'd been down to the planet. It was all black. It was just a casino in the middle of nothing.
Was that the show where they wore like pajamas?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they
Like
had the little button that they talked through?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that.
It's all right. It's a little unrealistic.
It was
if you ask
okay.
me.
Yeah. Very idealistic.
Yeah.
But anyway, they beamed down and they found a casino on a planet just out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was a little high when I was watching it. I was much younger than I am now, still doing stupid things. But yeah, it was just a casino in the middle of nowhere. I always wished I could find a casino in the middle of nowhere.
Huh.
All right.
About that moment, Mother starts indicating that she is detecting a more refined readout of Delphine, specifically Delphine 46-2D. And you start seeing some statistics pop up on the screen. It's a slightly about equivalent Earth-sized planet. About there's maybe it's actually probably closer to Mars size, but it is a moon for this gas giant, so a quite large one at that. Curiously, though, it does look like it has atmosphere, and it's actually one of the 3 moons that are orbiting the Delphine 2 gas giant that looks like it has atmosphere. From this distance, you're actually starting to get a visual readout, but of course, it is appearing in that typical green waterfall-like effect that you see on these retro-styled screens in Alien, where it just sort of like flickers and kind of static as it kind of reconstitutes in front of you. But right now, all you can see is the gas giant itself, about twice the size of Jupiter. You could probably put 2 Jupiters inside the size of this gas giant. It's enormous. But even on the backdrop of the size, you can see the beautiful sight of all these moons. There's about 17 moons that are orbiting this gas giant. And it looks like Delphine, the one you're headed to, is the largest of the moons. You spot on the readouts, the world looks like it is 0.8 Earth gravity. And is already registering some of the sensor feedback. It looks like the surface does have an oxygenated atmosphere, but it looks cold. Looks like the average surface temperature is about negative 50 degrees Celsius. But it's also reading signs of arboreal life. It looks like there are large swaths of great forest areas on the surface of this world. And you are detecting signs of water, which is probably reading here as ice, lots of ice. If your character had been familiar with it, looking at this planet, the entire planet pretty much has almost the same conditions on every sphere, which is highly unusual. But even near the equator, it looks like it has pretty much the same biodomes everywhere. If they turned Alaska into a planet, it's kind of what this place looks like. So you see huge open oceans that are frigid and lots of signs of great ancient tree life that is spread out throughout the planet. Indeed, this would be considered something of a diamond in the rough for anybody who is looking for colonization or a place to sit down or world to start up. Like finding a planet like this on the frontier without there being any terraforming is a diamond in the rough for sure. Connor is quiet as he's looking at this and just says, wow, a shame it's probably a place of, ultimate evil and darkness, but it's beautiful from up here.
Yeah. Wow. I wonder what it would be like to live on a place like that.
Well, why don't we go down there, kick everyone's ass, and set up shop? I mean, a white dwarf star, it's got a lot of time left in its life cycle, probably another few billion years or so. Why not?
It's too cold.
I mean, we could set up like a heating company, just retire, just sell colonists heat, but not the way Wayland Utani would do it, reasonably priced, enough to sustain everyone, that kind of thing.
Melt some of those oceans.
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't want to fuck up the ecosystem, but yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of fresh water up there, yeah. Could yeah. This is a nice thought. I mean, Wayland,
sounds like there are no ramen shops.
Not yet. Hey? Could break into the business, Isaac. Give up this life of crime, repairing the ship and all, settle down, open a ramen shop, Isaac's Noodles. It's got a ring to it.
I would have to consider it. Perhaps noodle on it more.
Oh, you could even go further with the pun. It could have like Sir Isaac Newton on the outside. Isaac's Noodles.
Isaac? Has Isaac ever punned?
Yeah, from time to time. They have times.
It's, okay, above board, it's very difficult as a GM to answer that question since Sam is playing Isaac. I don't know
Right. Yeah.
if Isaac has ever punned.
I don't know if I've
usually
ever
ask a few
noticed
times.
it being Isaac punning.
I'm going to assume it's
yeah,
happened because
Yeah.
Isaac has become a student of language, and so I'm going to assume that it has happened.
Isaac has been actively making different flavors of jokes
Okay.
over time.
That's right.
And so while I understand, because per Eric, it is customary occasionally with some characters, Sam will pun and the character will deny that they ever did anything. I think Isaac's aware, which is why they do not protest.
He doesn't have to make any piloting checks because the asteroid field that you guys pass through is indeed realistic, like an asteroid field is. The rocks are hundreds, if not thousands, of kilometers apart from each other as you all wander through. He does get some proximity alarms letting him know there's some large objects, and a few of the asteroids are apocalyptically huge, but you drift through that dome quite easily. When you make it to the other side, the sensors start picking up a little bit more from the system. You actually discover that not only two of the other moons also look like they might be habitable, but the planet that's closest to the white dwarf Delphine is actually a terrestrial planet as well and is habitable. However, it's about 12,000 kilometers in diameter, and it actually has an atmosphere that is breathable. However, the average temperature is excruciatingly hot. It looks like it probably averages at about 140 degrees Celsius on the surface on a cool day. So would require not out of the realm of also being colonized, but probably are going to need a little protection on that planet. But it's worth bringing up because there are in front of you 4 habitable planets as you were all entering the interior of the system. And while you are not here to do a survey, if you were, all of you would be rich right now. As you start approaching the planet, the gas giant of Delphine is impossible to get out of the view of the front of the ship. It is so large. And the closer you come to your destination, it starts encompassing your entire field of view. It is essentially a swirling wall of gorgeous marbled colored greens, yellows, and reds, deep oranges and whites. You can see methane clouds swirling around each other and the distant muted flashes of thunderstorms that are probably thousands of times the size of Earth. In front, in the foreground, you can see the little bitty black dots, shadows of these planets that are moving across your field of vision. As you grow closer, you see Connor begin to set up an orbit of the moon. And you all see coming into view the familiar image of a planet. Familiar in that this one is not so enormous and alien looking. Instead, this one clearly has oceans and great white stretches of clouds like white paint just being stretched across a canvas. You can see, even from the altitudes up above, you can see the great mountain ranges that much spread across this planet. And most of it is covered in green. You just see a continent of forests in front of you. And as you enter orbit and it becomes this beautiful horizon of life underneath you on the backdrop of this great, ominous, godlike gas giant, Connor finally finds his word and just says, I haven't been to too many places this beautiful before. Universe is usually dark and scary. This is it's quite nice.
It's nice to know it's still out there.
Well, whatever's down there on the planet, I can take us down, Cap. You just give the word and I'll start the descent. But I figured maybe there was a good chance to just check in before we do.
I don't think there's any point in waiting.
All right. Well, can't argue with that, I guess.
Any way to ping for Wayland Yutani communications devices while
Good
we're still in
idea.
orbit?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let me check on that.
And he swivels back towards the comms and says,
If the information we were given is accurate, then we should be reading something. But then if it's Project Darkstar down there.
and he is going to roll a scan. Let's see. Mother is going to help. He's going to make a comm check with Mother's assistance. Okay. So he's going to burn that on get more information. So after a few moments of him typing in, you see some data readouts popping up on that screen. And he says, oh, look at that. Look at that. There's your base right there. And he points. And you can see from the upper atmosphere, barely through the cloud cover, that there does look like a large compound. It is near the base of a mountain range, a low mountain range on a plateau. It is surrounded by forests. You see scarring all over the landscape, which is interesting. Maybe they were doing foresting, you're not sure, but you see blackened scarring on the exteriors of it. And as that is registering, he also detects signs of wreckage in both the lower atmosphere, in lower orbit, as well as on the surface of the planet about 800 kilometers away from the base. But he is detecting power signature, or some kind of energy signature down at the base. As he reads that, he says, well, the power's on, but it looks like somebody... I mean, if I'm just going to put this out there, not to scare anyone, but I'm reading wreckage in the lower orbit and 800 kilometers from the base. That tells me someone crashed or got shot down.
Any way to look for surface-to-air missiles or something?
I could try, but again, the Ilios is just a factory standard cargo. No, I love you, girl, but you're a bit basic. I do love you for that, though. Hold on, see what I can do with it.
Did we ever check to see if the Ilios had a secretly updated mother system that
You did
Isaac
not.
possibly has the codes for? Do we want to maybe check that
Hmm.
out just briefly, just real quick?
Oh, I could look for further protocols to see whether... And then Isaac stops saying anything because they remember what triggered stuff the last 2 times.
And as you stop mid-sentence, Connor finishes the scan and goes, "I'm not detecting anything else. Just a vague power signature. I can't tell what the ship was, but it was big, whatever it was. Bigger than the Ilios."
That's concerning.
Yeah.
Isaac will use their super code on the mother system.
Okay. Perhaps to your relief, but Mother doesn't seem to register what that code is.
Okay.
It says, "I'm sorry, Isaac. I'm not sure what this code is for. Would you like me to save it?"
No, I think I can hang on to it adequately for now. Thank you. How did it get... Are we close enough for visuals on the wreckage?
You can be, yes, if you want Connor to maneuver in that direction.
I mean, if we could see any insignia or something, that would be extremely informative.
Okay.
No?
Connor says, "Yeah, I can take us in that direction. Feel free to jump in any time here, Cap," as he glances back over his shoulder at you, Doc.
We've been 2 steps behind in every point of this. If Varela didn't want us to be here, we'd probably be dead already. So let's touch down.
Are we already within weapons range at this point, or are we still out of what would be considered?
Hard to
How would
say.
they know?
Hard to
You
say.
would
Okay, cool.
You would have to know, yeah.
By the time we're close enough to be in visual range of the wreckage, it is entirely possible we would be within range of whatever turned it into wreckage.
Yeah, but if it's in low orbit and it got caught there, that's probably where it got hit. So at least
Okay.
has that range.
All right. So Connor hesitates and says, "All right, I can maneuver, get a better shot at the wreckage, or Captain, do you want me to just take us straight down?"
Let's just get this over with. Touch straight down.
Aye, Cap. And he turns back to the controls and says, "All right, everyone, strap in. We're going to hit Atmo in just a moment." And with that, he is going to make planetfall.
Tig leans over to Doc while we're seated, and just for Doc, not for anyone else, just says, "We don't get to die. If we let ourselves want to die, they die. Can we just get them out of here? Can we just live that long?"
We can do whatever Varela allows us to do.
I'm not talking about Varela. I'm talking about you. You need to live long enough to see them get home. Okay? I'm not asking.
I will certainly endeavor to try.
I'll take it.
Ominously, just as you hear him finish saying this, you all begin to shake in your seats as the upper atmosphere is breached, and you see fire begin to slowly crawl up the cockpit window. What's up?
Before we enter Atmo, I wanted to just see if there are any Marines nearby.
All you see is what the sensors detected, that there was some kind of wreckage in the upper atmosphere, in the lower orbit, and that some kind of ship crashed about 800 kilometers east of the compound, and that there is a compound down there right now that is exuding some kind of power supply. As you get closer, you might be able to do a ComTech check to scan, but you probably will. It'll probably be at a slightly increased difficulty if you want to try to scan the wreckage, but you'll definitely have a better shot at scanning the compound.
Okay, yeah. I was just, I mean, not on planet and orbit and not on planet. We don't see any other ships or anything. We're not.
There's no
sensing.
other ships detected in the system.
Interesting. Okay. I will send a message to. Did I get a name for the ship that was going to come and meet us out here?
Yep.
Okay. Then I'll send a message directly
It's
to them.
called the UAS. Oops. The UAS Sephora.
UAS Sephora. Okay, cool. I'll send them a message and tell them we've arrived.
Make a contact check, if
Okay.
you would, please.
I'll just do it on the computer.
It's weird. Do you want to take a?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
We haven't done any yet.
Yeah. I
Y'all,
will take
thanks
one.
to 3 new members of our Super Punks crew, we
Hey.
that signed up this month.
That's
That
great.
we have some story points to spend here. So if y'all want to go
Some
into
of us
them.
might live.
Welcome to the party, pal.
All right, so this is from Michael Harris. Go
Yay,
ahead
thank you.
and ahead and add that free success.
Would I still have a stress from before sleep, or is that gone?
When we
No,
sleep,
that
I think it goes. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it goes away.
All right then. I got 2 successes plus the story points, so 3.
So
total.
3. So you'll succeed, and then you can spend those further 2 on stunting for contact checks. That is, you don't need to roll for this again. You can do it in half the time. You can get new unexpected information. You can hide your tracks, or you can show off.
I get 2 of those.
Yes.
Okay. The first one would be don't need to roll for it again.
Or +1 to a related roll later on.
But can I choose don't need to roll for it again?
For sending out a message to the general,
Well, no, to the
Yeah.
ship.
to
Yeah.
the Sephora. Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So yeah, don't need to roll for it again, and then more information.
More information. So yeah, in a cruel twist,
No. What?
as you start getting the information coming in, right now you guys are bouncing around in your seats as the Ilios is descending into the atmosphere. You are using the Ilios' sensors right now and angling them as best you can to find out as much information about the surface as you can. When reaching out to ping the Sephora, you activate a distress beacon that is in the upper atmosphere that was not detected. And Martha, you feel your blood go cold because those beacons are only launched in the event a ship has gone into SOS or has been destroyed. It's usually a beacon that's been left behind for the Navy to find them or to find any possible survivors, which answers the big question as to what that wreckage might be down on the planet.
Oh my god. Oh, I guess it's like, oh my god.
Doing the math, Martha, just setting it up for you because this is the cascade effect of logic that Martha would have. You went looking for the Sephora and you found it.
Mm-hmm. That's bad.
And how it got there. And you guys are currently in the middle of planetfall. So it starts to slowly dawn on you how incredibly vulnerable you feel right now. Because the Sephora was an attack ship for the Colonial Marine Corps.
Oh my god.
It had at least 2 drop ships assigned to it and at least 2 fire teams assigned to it. The beacon right now that you have managed to discover by accessing your Marine code has been echoing from what it looks like an SOS has been sounding out for the past week. So if anybody has heard it, they're probably on their way. But the Sephora is currently resting in her grave about a couple of miles below where you guys are falling out of the sky right now.
Since everyone hears the distress beacon, I was gonna like not tell because that's a bummer.
Well, no one would hear it. You're able to detect it because you're basically dialing in to the Marines comm chatter to sort of broadcast an encrypted message on Colonial Marine lines.
Okay, so it's not sounding out
No, it's not sounding out. Your data pad and your code, the Ilios is picking it up because you went looking.
I'm not going to say anything to people right now because
Okay.
It's yeah.
In that case, stand by because things are about to get interesting.
All right. Our pilot doesn't need to know.
Yeah, I'll tell everyone when we're landed and not in the middle
if we get that far.
if we land. But not
Hey,
right
this
now.
could be a short session.
Yeah, this might be our TPK. Let's go.
Landing a ship is the scariest, just like planes. Takeoff and landing.
The
That's
rumble,
scariest part.
the rumbling of the atmosphere just outside the ship begins to finally just kind of give way as you hear it sort of dying down. And Connor is just doing his business. He sets the coffee mug down and flips a couple of switches. And it's at about that moment where you indeed hear the boop, 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 this sensor detection going off on Mother. And Connor reacts immediately, goes, "What?" And he looks down and goes, "Oh, fuck me."
What are we being targeted?
He flips a switch and you see coming up on the screen that the Ilios has been painted. And you see immediately signs of ordnance that has been launched from the surface.
Ah, crap. Evasive? Can we do evasive
He
maneuvers?
stares over to you and he goes, "I'm flying a bus. Everyone hang on." And he is going to make a piloting check.
And he's going to take an ox point about it.
Yes, he is.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
He's
Yeah,
going to
take
take
an
the
ox point.
oxiest point ever.
Yeah.
Sure enough, it registers that about 4 miles out, there is incoming ordnance. It's registered as something fast moving with a warhead. That's all Sensors was telling you. But it is headed straight towards the Ilios and it has acquired you guys. He goes, you see Connor gets very quiet as he grabs hold of the flight stick. Okay. Real quick, I'm going to make some rolls here.
Oh my
So
God.
I'm going to take the ox point, the ordnance that was fired. I am going to track real quick what kind of weapon is being used. It is...
Oh man.
Can Marco assist on sensors at all to give him like a boost or like a bonus?
If this was any other kind of ship, yes.
Okay, cool. Okay.
You could absolutely run electronic countermeasures on incoming warheads. But the Ilios is a cargo ship.
Alas,
Oh,
she's a bus.
She
I more
has-
meant like an extra set of eyes basically on what's happening so that
Oh, not really. No.
Okay,
At this point, you guys are naked in front of this warhead.
we sure
It's,
are.
it's completely up to Connor to just duck and weave.
Sweet.
And
My
keeping in
moves.
mind, the Ilios is a Bison class cargo ship. He was being generous when he called her a bus in space. She is a hauler. So this would be like an oil tanker at sea trying to outrun a torpedo. Kind of
Spy
similar. So
Ray
Historically,
shield.
we don't do that.
Not in that game yet. We're not there yet.
I
Maybe
actually
there real soon.
Maybe they were
Um,
super than expected.
Yeah, I actually, if you'll excuse me for a second, I actually have to open the Colonial Marines guide because
Oh, God.
it does not have the correct ordnance stats.
Oh God, no!
That is being
Evasive maneuver.
yeah. Oh, that is definitely happening. Okay. There are so many. Yes, there we go. Surface to air missiles.
Doc is actually
Well,
laughing. Like it's just
I suppose it is some cold comfort that should the end come, we will be killed by Sam.
You will be killed by Sam. That is correct. Okay. I'm gonna roll an attack here.
Can we get our ox point? Thanks.
Yeah. Your ox point, as I said, is from Michael Harris. So thank you again, Michael Harris.
Michael
And
Hansen,
then
close.
oh wait, that was
the
Elisa's
first
ox
one.
point.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
you're
was like,
having-
this is we gave
Oh,
one
okay.
to.
This one's from Gonmog.
Unlocked.
Thank you,
okay.
Gonmog. All right,
Thank
so
you.
there is a penalty on this, but it's not as big as it should be because it is a tracking missile. Let's see if you
Gonmog
can do
sounds
better
like
than.
a treat.
Okay.
Then the
Uh,
Marines. Yeah. No, this is realistic expectations from Us, the broadside of a barn.
Okay. So, all right, then I'm going to. Okay, so that's the roll for the attack. I am now going to roll for Connor.
Please.
Connor has. Okay, so the bison. Interestingly enough, the bison is actually not penalized on maneuverability, and it just doesn't get any bonuses.
Nice.
So, this is going to be a very dizzying dodge, as Connor is basically going to do something a little dangerous. He's going to tip the nose of the ship, and you guys are at enough altitude where you see he's gambling on being able to bring her out of a dive, which, again, this is a CM-88H Bison. This is not a ship designed for high banked maneuvers. You can hear the groan and the stress on the hull as Connor points her down and then cuts the starboard thruster and starts to spin the ship a bit. It is a nauseating display. Now, Isaac, for you, this is just an observation that you're having, but anybody who's looking outside the window can both see and feel the horizon twist, shift, dip, and then spin. Your head and your stomach is all feeling this right now. And I'm going to roll. Okay.
I bet I look like roller coasters.
Okay, 1 sec. Thank goodness you guys spent that aux point. This was a maneuver. Presses ship, counts as roll. Yep. Okay. Actions. Yep.
Oh, poor Tig doesn't have depth perception.
Okay.
This is really, really hard for her brain to.
Yeah, with motion sickness, they typically tell you to stay at the fixed point on the horizon. Good luck. Let me know when we have one of those again.
Yep.
Or, maybe it will when we explode.
When we hit it.
Hey, that's, I mean, the one thing you got working for you right now is she may be a big bus, but she does have an armor rating and she does have a decent hull.
Our girl thick.
You see it all. In the middle of the spin, you catch a glimpse of what looks like a trail of smoke coming up out of the clouds, like launching straight up towards the sky, and it twists suddenly and starts heading in your direction. Like it just kind of launches straight up and goes and starts heading towards the Ilios. But you only see it for the briefest of seconds. Tig, Martha, you know this. You've seen smoke before. There's been plenty of drop ship missions where you guys have been on where you got to see smoke. That's always what the pilot usually cries out when there's incoming ordnance, is when they spot the smoke of the exhaust from one of these SAM missiles. You don't know if Connor has any combat training, but he looks like he's basically trying to pull a rabbit out of his hat, sending this huge bison craft into a bit of a spin as you guys dive. You lose sight, and all you have is the blaring sound of Mother alerting you that there is incoming ordnance. And you just hear Connor start going, come on, come on, come on. He shouts out, everybody clinch up. And you're hit. There is a sickening, cracking sound. It sounds like something, if you can, the sound of metal slapping hard against metal. It's not so much of a clang, but is a more definitive slapping pop that you hear somewhere distant behind the ship. And alarms start to blare and the entire flight deck goes red. Connor is going to make another roll real quick. I'll spend an aux point because I understand this is an important roll.
Yes, please.
Good, thank you.
This is from Bibliotech.
Thank you.
The impact on the hull, it's not entirely clear how bad it is. But as the alarm starts to blare, you all begin to realize in that moment that the Ilios has been struck by a missile. And Connor, fuck for that aux point. He rolled a 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2 on his dice pool. Yeah. You guys see that you're in a spin in that particular moment. You've gone from a dive and a twist, and the Ilios starts going into a flat spin. And Connor starts screaming obscenities, but you cannot hear him over the roar of the engines. It occurs to you now that some of the sounds you're hearing that's causing a lot of the ambient noise is actually atmosphere somewhere in the back of the ship, rushing into the hull. You all see fire signs lighting up on the side of the Ilios, the left side of the Ilios' hull. indicating that she's taken damage. I'm going to roll for component damage right now to see what got hit. The good news is you guys did not get hit hard enough to full on take out any of your systems. The armor rating of a bison is 6, the hull is 9, and Connor did pretty decent on a roll to try to dodge this thing. So it's subtracted from the successes, but you are going to take minor component damage. So I'm going to roll 2d6. And I roll a 22, which is cargo damage. A random item kept in the cargo hold has been destroyed. So I will determine what that is. But the ship shudders. And he, thanks to that single success from the Ox Point, manages to get control of the Ilios again. And you all feel the lurch of the G-force straining against both your seatbelts and your bodies as he begins to turn it back and gain control. However, the altitude lost during this whole stint is a bit terrifying. You're still well above the planet, but you see how fast you're all falling as he begins to pull the ship out of the dive. He goes, I'm going to have to set us down as quickly as possible. We're going to get another incoming. He is going to immediately start heading for the mountainsides, kind of in the direction of the, kind of in the same direction as the wreckage, but not close enough to it. That was 800 kilometers away. You guys find yourselves heading towards a huge tree line. Indeed, you see the trees of this planet must be redwood in scale. They're so huge, and they look like some kind of variation of pine. They're dense in some areas and very sparse in others over what look like rocky outcroppings. So that brief hope you have of settling down quickly on an open landing spot is immediately vaporized when you notice that the rocky, jagged outcroppings are what you would be landing on if you chose something without trees. Connor just shakes his head and he goes, it's going to have to be rough or we're going to get shot again.
Can I have a above table for Noir. You could maybe throw a captain's command at our dear friend and give him a dice bonus on his next task if you so choose. If that doesn't interfere with your current character arc. Which is fair. Also a fair statement.
No, honestly, he's just kind of, before he was afraid, now he just is like, well, this
I
is
know.
what's to be expected. But I think he would just go, then do it, damn it. And that's the command.
Okay.
Which will give you one auto success.
Okay. Curiously enough, as he is getting ready to make this roll, and you see him stabilizing the ship, you see smoke. A line of smoke trailing from another missile that's launched from the surface. And you hear the alarms begin to blare again as this one immediately catches on and paints the Ilios. However, as Connor is in the middle of swearing, this missile only makes it about 2 miles from you guys before it detonates. Explodes mid-flight. Connor just keeps looking back at the consoles again and again to double check, triple check to see if he's reading this correctly, and starts to slow the Ilios a bit into a more controlled descent, and starts tracking again and looking. No other missiles are fired from the surface.
Well, I guess they changed their mind.
Is premature combustion common?
I mean, it happens, right?
If you Marines would like to make a roll, you certainly can. If you want to try to interpret what's happened here,
Yes,
I'll allow you to make an observation check on this.
Okay.
And because you're Marines, I'll give you a +1 bonus die.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Oh God, I keep forgetting to take out this stress.
Did we get? I was gonna say, did we get any stress from being hit by a missile?
Sorry, yes, everyone except
Okay.
Isaac obviously gained 1 point of stress the moment the ship took damage.
Just wanted
Okay.
to check.
Yeah.
Okay,
Actually-
so this is stressful for organics.
Actually, let me double check something real quick.
Yeah,
In retrospect, I probably could have thought of that, but it's one of those things where, like, if you didn't think it at the time, then it's like, oh, of course, obviously, it's
yeah,
not
right,
so you
obviously,
take
yeah.
damage for being in the ship when it's hit.
Yeah.
As if so, that might be gnarly.
One moment. So, Oh yeah. Hold on. Stand by. There is a variation to the panic rule here because let's see. Yep. Okay.
Somebody get hit by an exploding console.
Well, no, not necessarily, but space has its own panic checks. So yeah, so I've got the table up now, but you guys are fine. So go ahead and if you guys want to make your rolls real quick. And you do have aux points because we are coming to the end of the session.
I'll let Tig carry this one. I got no successes.
Okay. I got 2.
2? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, Tig. There's no other explanation. Those are military grade weapons being shot at you guys. And if these are responsible for taking down a Colonial Marines attack ship, then you can expect those to be advanced controlled surface to air missiles. If one just randomly blew up in flight, it was on purpose. It was probably ordered to terminate. Somebody detonated it before it could finish its seek.
Well, either someone's interfering or we just have the best luck of anyone on the frontier, and I doubt it's the second one. So
2
someone
steps
wanted us to
behind.
land. Someone wanted us to land,
Yeah.
or we have survivors from whatever ship crashed here before us.
Well, I actually have some info on who that ship was. It was our backup Colonial Marines. I got their beacon as we were entering Atmo. I didn't want to rattle anyone more than we were being rattled at the time. But yeah, we have no backup.
Oh,
Make an
Well, there's always
make an observation check real quick, you guys. If you would please. As Connor is about to set the Ilios down. She is fighting him, which is giving you the impression that there might be more component damage, and there is.
I got a panic.
that's why Isaac exists.
And looks like 2 successes as well.
Okay, so make a panic check real quick.
you auto succeed, Martha.
Auto succeed.
Okay.
I got 3 successes.
Okay. Indeed, the bulk of the ship that was shot down did indeed seem to be 800 kilometers away. However, one of the outcroppings that Connor was angling towards, which looked like an open space in order to set down, like a place where the trees weren't so dense, you see now Connor has inadvertently found what looks like a blackened scar of a crashed second half of the ship. Connor glances at you as you see what looks like the back end hull of what appeared to be the one half of one of the ships. And you do, in fact, see, even from this altitude, as you guys are coming down pretty fast, the name Sephora written across the hull with the Colonial Marines logo near the engines. There's debris scattered all over the place. Any fires that were burning have long since gone out. And Connor says, I guess I'll put us down right there.
Yeah, we can check for survivors.
Give me a chance to find out how badly we've been hit.
Whew.
He lands the Ilios.
I think that stress that Martha took was maybe finally. I mean, are we close enough that I would have seen the Sephora, the name on the
Yes,
back?
yeah, because
Okay.
Anybody who made the successful observation check, you would have seen it from the altitude because he was flying towards what looked like a good space to land. And as it turns out, the back half of an assault ship made a good space for you guys to land by
Cleared it
crashing
out,
and
yeah.
sliding across the ground. There's this blackened scar where fires look like they probably burned about maybe 500 acres of forest.
Wow.
So there's this huge blackened scar that Connor's leading you guys towards.
Yeah, Martha took that panic just from seeing the name, like, oh God, yeah, it really is the ship that was supposed to back us up. Oh God, oh God, oh God. And then she's like, okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Connor managed to set the Ilios down. But when the Ilios lands, the noise it makes is highly unlike any noise she's ever made before. It sounds like she groans in protest, and you feel her sink a little lower than she normally does when she settles onto her landing struts. Connor just shifts heavily in the seat. And he goes, "Oh, poor girl. It must be pretty bad. I'm going to have to get outside and do a visual." Oh, fuck. You see that, Isaac? And he points. You see lights up on the display, the mother display. You see engine 2 looks like it is not at full thrust, and looks like it's flickering in power. The power source looks like it's fluctuating. And he goes, "We better check to see if there's any reactor damage before we do anything else."
On it.
He starts flipping in, shutting everything down, and he goes, "Whatever happens, we're not taking off for a good while. So if someone's shooting at us and if we think we're stuck down here, I guess we should get out, take a look around, make sure the area is safe, or whatever it is you Marines do."
Copy that.
I'm gonna go sweep.
All right.
I'll come with.
All right.
I'm guessing you're arming up.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And suiting up.
Okay, and suiting up. It's been a hot minute, Tig, but you put on
Marines.
your Marine armor.
Mhm.
You put on the chest plate, put on the boots, you put the comm unit onto the chest plate so you can communicate, the headgear, and you lift up that familiar pulse rifle that you haven't held really in earnest in quite a while. You guys check your ammo supplies, and the cargo bay elevator begins to lower down as you guys are immediately hit with a wall of frigid air. You immediately see your breath in front of you as you all start going down. Staying out here is not going to be a problem. Staying out here for more than a shift could be a problem, and you might start suffering some environmental effects. Right now, though, negative 50 degrees Celsius is effing cold, and you don't want to be out here for too long. But as you settle down onto the surface, you guys see indeed a beautiful arboreal world out in front of you. The forest around you is quiet. You can still hear the Ilios over your head just as the power systems are still shutting down. Not far from where you are standing, you see a field of debris. Everything from like chunks of twisted steel and metal to what looks like maybe chairs, like thick, heavy chairs that were probably used in like one of the cargo bay, maybe a briefing room. The two of you can imagine a bunch of Marines sitting in those big, thick, heavily padded chairs in a briefing room. And you see one of these in oddly perfect condition, completely torn free from the ship, just laying in the middle of this dirty outcropping of rock. Make an observation check, the both of you, as you begin to step out. Two successes. How'd you do, Tig?
Second. Oh, I need one more die. Oops, I can count. Only one.
One success. Okay, so Tig, you will as you 2-inch forward, with you and Martha falling into a perfect practice sweep. Your rifle's up in front of you, and taking a good look at the area around, you see this ship probably broke up as it was falling. And this half of the ship came to this terrible end of smashing into the planet and skidding as far as it had. You do not think it's possible there were any survivors, but it's you never know. Weirder things have happened. Colonial Marine ships are built to withstand planet-side impact. They are anticipated that they could be shot down. So as you were all moving through this debris field, the further away you move from the Ilios, the more dense it gets. You can see that from where you are with those 1 successes, you can see what looks like almost a small mountain of metal.
Eliza had 2.
Yeah, you had 2, but with 1 success, you see this you see a small mountain of metal in front of you that you know on the other side is going to resemble more of a ship. But you can see open splits in the hull, and you can actually see inside a little bit. You can see a little bit of sparking light from maybe power that's still fluctuating and flashing on and off, swaying from power lines and such. there might be things inside you could salvage, because it looks like the interior of the hull hasn't been completely incinerated. It looks like there's definitely interior parts of the ship that look like you could possibly explore them. But the debris all the way up there is worth investigating too, because the closer you get, the more you can see it's scattered about you. There's probably things worth going through here. Eliza, with your 2 successes, you see bodies. Inevitably, there's a couple of bodies laying in shape that's very difficult to identify. The 2 of you moving about, you come across one in particular, Martha, as you see individual laying face down. Hard to see how it was they died. They're still fully intact, and it looks like they are just laying face down in the soil, but they are very much dead. You can tell that it looks like they have Colonial Marine gear on.
I'm gonna reach down and try to.
I
discern-
stop you. Let's not touch. Let's not touch anything until we have a better.
Yes.
We-
Yes.
We're gonna use. We'll use our ends of the rifle to flip the person over.
Okay. You flip it over. The body comes to a rest, and quite dead, yes, indeed. Looks like she took some pretty catastrophic damage and was thrown clear of the impact. You see her dog tags are around her neck, though, and exposed on the chest of the armor. Just glancing down, Eliza, Martha, you see as you glance down at the dog tags, your eyes freeze on them for a second as you read the name Private Shoshana Field. And for you, Eliza,
Yeah.
Martha, you feel your blood freeze for a minute as you recognize Private Field was a member of your former unit. And in that moment, the first thing that comes to your mind as you remember Private Field, you remember all the emotional abuse she took from your CO. She was one of the few that couldn't come forward. And when you did, she just couldn't back you up. And you stare down at the body, and that's when it hits you. Corporal Vance might be in this ship. It was his unit too. You gaze back over at the wreckage, and that is where we are going to stop tonight's episode of Beacon.
Oh boy!
Whoa. Doing
I'm so
great.
glad I'm talking about puppies and stuff tomorrow. I'm gonna need that. Oh.
I can't predict, but it might be that the next episode might very well be the climax of the entire campaign. I don't know how many
different
more.
way it was about to be.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to leave that up to chance to see how that was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I made sure that I gave Connor a hell of a stats, and there was contact checks there that helped. But yeah, I'm glad you guys survived that first missile. I'm glad. Yeah. So anyway, there are rules for crashing. However, the Alien Core book simply says everyone dies.
Woo! Hooray!
Well, that's pretty limited rules.
It flat out says that if a planetfall check is failed, everyone dies.
Wow.
Yay!
So,
That would have been a great TPK. What are you talking about?
I was like, for those of you watching, I've had conversations with the group of like, hey, so when we enter this last arc, like, how do we feel about really taking the safeties off here? Because I don't want to have an anticlimactic end to the campaign, but if the dice roll, and they were like, just go for it, dude. So here, I'm glad everything worked out. We are not doing any more XP for this campaign because we are at the end of the campaign. For those of you who are watching, just so you know, in the last session after we went off the air, I gave the group the maximum amount of XP that I could give for a game session. and they are free to spend it now. You guys can beef up your characters however you see fit, but as of right now, where you are is where you're gonna be. So also, we're gonna do a reveal next episode because we don't know the condition of the Ilios. There was more than one component damage. However, the good news is it's minor component damage. So the Ilios theoretically is going to be in shape to fly again, but we'll have to see. So until then, that is going to wrap us out though for tonight's episode of Beacon. Next episode, I suspect, is going to be a big episode for this crew. So don't miss it. But until then, this is the crew of the Ilios signing off.